So, any ideas what part of the Lord's Prayer has to do with French fries? None? All right. So, we are looking at give us this day our daily bread, which is the fourth petition of the Lord's Prayer. Everybody got your sheet? All right, so what does this mean? God certainly gives daily bread to everyone without our prayers. So God is going to provide for us no matter what, whether we're asking for it or not, right? Because he's a good God, and that's what he does. Everyone got that one? So this says even to all evil people. So that means that God is the provider for everyone on earth, no matter who you are, right? So what are we really praying in this petition? So we're praying that God would lead us to realize this. So lead us to realize this is the next blank. And to receive our daily bread with thanksgiving. So when we're praying this, we're kind of looking at ourselves and giving thanks back to God for the things that he has given us. So yes, we're asking him for it, but we're also praying to him in thanks in doing that, right? Everyone got those next two? Good? All right. So what is meant by daily bread? Is it just bread? Just French fries? Just food? It's a lot more than that. So I think you have a fill-in on your sheet that says to write some of the things down that's daily bread. I think that's the next section. So I put a bunch of ideas up there. So it's really everything. Everything that he gives you physically, meeting your physical needs, right? Give you a second to write a few of those down. So daily bread includes everything that has to do with the support and needs of your body. Your physical needs. Oh, got to go back. You need more ideas? All right. Can you read it from there, Georgie? Okay. Yep. All right, so a lot of times when you think about God providing for you and, providing for your daily needs, the question might come up, maybe from someone who doesn't believe in Jesus. What about people who don't have any? What is God doing with them, right? And the reality is we live in a sinful world, a world affected by sin, right? So the world's not great because of our original sin. And people aren't so great either, right? So God really calls us to be his hands and feet into the world. And so we're called to serve those who maybe don't have everything that they need. We're called to be God's instrument in that, right? And so I want you to think about some interesting statistics that were released by Relevant Magazine a few years ago, with the idea that when you look at Scripture, God says, whatever money that you make, just give me back a tenth of that, or 10%, right? And that's considered a tithe, right? It's not this, demand from God. It's, give it back so that we can, you can participate in the work that I'm doing, right? And so I want you to think about these stats for a second. So if every Christian in every church gave that 10%, there would be an additional 165 billion for the churches to use and distribute. So the global impact would be phenomenal. So the idea is, if the church, everyone gave that 10%, you could feed the world, and you'd still have 165 billion left over. Kind of interesting, right? So 25 billion could relieve global hunger, starvation, and deaths from preventable diseases in 5 years. 12 billion could eliminate illiteracy in 5 years. 15 billion could solve the world's water and sanitation issues, specifically at places in the world where 1 billion people live on less than $1 a day. 1 billion could fully fund all overseas mission work. 100 and 110 billion would still be left over for additional ministry expansion. So that's a pretty big impact for a pretty small portion of your income, right? I just thought it was kind of a neat thought, from a Christian magazine that kind of put those numbers together. And then one final closing thought. As you think about giving back, serving God by serving others, just have this thought from Matthew 25. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? So this is Jesus talking about people's response when, on the last day, he's like, you did all these things for me. And people are like, when? That's just part of what we do as Christians, to serve God by serving others. And so that's really it. And you guys have some discussion questions to go through in your small groups.